Excellent. So today is Sunday, the 18th of February, 2024. So just gone 2 o'clock in the afternoon on whereabouts are you?
Me, I'm in Somerset in the UK.
Have you got like miserable skies and rain and English weather?
English weather, just horrible English weather. Yeah.
I've got my mutes on. It's not very nice, is it? Right, let me have a look here. Just going to keep an eye on Facebook because I don't always get the notifications. So I have to kind of look in 2 places at once. Thank you for doing this with me at such short notice. You were recommended to me by a friend of mine, and he's like, "Oh, you've got to talk to Cassie, blah blah blah," because I don't always get to see everything. So it's really good that people do message me with, people they think, should get their message out, and I think it's brilliant. So thank you. And I know it's Sunday afternoon, and there's a lot of people probably cooking their dinners and football with the kids, and family visits and whatever. So, but all I ask of you is if you can just share this live stream, and I may not be able to see all your messages, by the way, because this is what StreamYard's like. It can play up and down. So I'm here with beautiful Cassie, and she's running the National Residents Association. Is that right? You created that, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Right. And your work is really, really new to me. And I did watch one of your videos in Telegram literally this morning while I'm trying to deal with a sore throat and feeling like, hi Anthony, hi Max, thank you. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I thought I'd give it a go on YouTube. Let's see how that goes. And so I started to watch, and you're fighting everything, really. You're trying to build community bridges. So you're trying to bring people together in the community more than ever now, because that's extremely important. And it's always better to talk to people face to face and get that energy, isn't it? You're sort of, you've got building hubs, you've got templates for people to use if they want to challenge. Let me say, I'm not going to say the actual word, but these smart grid towers.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I like the way you phrased that.
Yeah, the ones that were desperately erected during the most deadly virus known to man.
Coincidentally,
that you couldn't leave your house. But
those ones, yeah.
Those ones. So everyone knows what we're talking about. So smart grid towers, control towers. And so you're fighting that as well. And you're helping people. And if I'm right as well, did you say that you're actually going to help people take them down? So even if it's been put up, you've got ways of possibly getting them taken down.
Yeah, I don't want to walk too soon, but yes.
Yeah, but you're working on that.
Yes, that's correct.
Excellent. Yeah. So I'm just going to let you take it from here. Tell me about your National Residents Association, how you started, obviously, and what it is your people can work with with your website, and what it is you do that you can help people.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
I hopefully it's not too advantageous, but okay, so we started the National Residents Association mainly because there's so many issues in this country, and I think we can all see that we're all being affected. People like us are obviously being affected because of the agenda, and we know how that is impacting people. So, and everybody's sick and tired of it, aren't they, Laura?
Yeah,
I think.
Understatement.
Yeah, and I think that's really why I wanted to start with. Well, we kind of started because I wanted to start bringing the community spirit back together. Because if you think about it, people don't even know their neighbour anymore. And since the corona corruption, I call it the corona corruption, came along, that caused more divide in our communities. And then that obviously then beyond that well, family unit, friend dynamics, and people fell out with each other. So again, people were divided, and
Yeah.
that's how these the lockdowns were able to go ahead, and also how they've been able to roll out their agenda as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized all of this, and I thought, well, the solution to the problem is we've got to start building back the community spirit. And
Yeah.
because public pressure is so important right now. So we started with 5G, and because obviously naturally 5G is going to hold the whole new world order together. And once I realized that all of this, I thought, well, built a strategy around 5G in particular, because if you can think about it, the only good thing about 5G is that you can see them. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you go back to COVID, people couldn't see that there was a problem. So therefore they believed the narrative. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
and it was hard, wasn't it? And because people were feeling that cognitive dissonance, they were like,
Yeah.
oh no, and they were going off getting vaccinated. So if they hadn't been affected by the vaccines, then obviously they don't care. So then
Yeah.
you think about people only care when it affects their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, right, okay, fine. So we built an initial strategy piece around talking to people about 5G. And you would be so surprised, Laura, that people don't want these things outside their house, number one.
Yeah.
People just don't like them. People don't know
They're
what they're there
ugly.
for. Yeah, and they're
And they're
scary.
ugly. Yeah.
They're terrifying because they're just these big monstrosities.
And
So
that's without seeing the small print. They haven't even read the small print yet
that,
that it says how bad it is for your health.
yeah,
But just visually, you don't want them there. Yeah, it's like,
and that's a good thing. That's a good inroad. And what I
yeah.
call it is I call it a pain point, right? So you then correlate that, and so for an example, we've got a script. So teams will go out with their lanyards on, their high vis jackets, doing readings, and then going to talk to people on their doorsteps. And what happens is people are going, I don't want these things. We don't like this. Then what the theme is, people are feeling abandoned, alone, paralyzed, weak. So there's so many topics. So then you can relate like cost of living, and then people can't afford to pay their electricity bills. Then you tell somebody, oh, look, are you aware that each mast costs 72 to 75 houses worth of power to fuel one? Yes, that's right. That's right. Yep. Your reaction and like the
I
general
know.
public's reaction is what? And
Yeah.
that's a pain
Yeah.
point, right? So that is winning people over. So once we've got that public support, we're building that trust with our community, basically meaning that we can kind of then move on to other topics. And I know some of the areas now have moved on to other topics like cost of living, conscription to war, because the only
No,
exactly.
that's not happening. That's so not happening. There's so many people just going, no. Like,
Yes.
and the reality is, let's face it, this country couldn't fight. I mean, with Russia, seriously. I mean, someone made a comment saying, you've got Russian men doing push-ups in the snow. I mean, look at the
Really?
men. Look at the men in our country. They're more worried about their nails than this is how
And
it's
putting on
got
their
tight
makeup
jeans and what.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's not going to work. But you're right. There's so much that people are now waking up to, even if they're not fully awake, but they're not happy about.
No, they're not. They're not. And the thing is, the common theme from people going out speaking to people in their local area is people feel weak, they feel alone, and they feel
Yeah.
isolated and abandoned. So therefore, all we have to do is we the people like us is empower ourselves to then go out into our communities and empower another. So I'll give you an example. One of my ladies in London, she was like, right, okay, because she came to me in despair. And then I said, right, you've got to do this, this, this. So she went out into her community, and now she walks down that road in her community. 700-800 people know that woman. They're going, she's from the Residents Association, and they all really like her. And now she's
Brilliant.
united a community, right? So then if we wanted to use that at council meetings, can you imagine having 3, 4, 5, 600, maybe thousands of
Yeah.
people at council meetings where they are rolling out the agenda?
Yeah.
It's going to be game over, Laura.
Absolutely. And that's just one woman. Just one woman has
that's
managed to
one
achieve that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's powerful.
so she empowered herself, and then obviously she's gone out into her community, taken that direct action,
Yeah,
and done that. And it's just, and so the other night she went to a council meeting where they were looking at closing a library. So local nuances are also really good, because that brings the public out of their shell, because they're passionate about it. So they were just going to shut this library down, and that was it. And so there was about 50 people turned up to this council meeting. And anyway, she stood there and she spoke to them about 5G. All of the councillors walked out. And but what she did was she then reeled in a whole bunch of people that had not even contemplated 5G.
yeah,
And now want to talk about it, and obviously want
smart.
to put, yeah, you
Very
see.
smart. I like it. Yeah. See, this is it. But this is the importance of community networking and getting yourself out there
It is because
and taking the risk.
yeah, because they know who we all are, Laura, right? They know exactly who we all are. So the only way to disempower them is to empower ourselves and act with a bit of bravery here. Because if you're known by your community, how can they do anything? They can't do it. We've disempowered them. And the only way that this agenda's been rolled out is because not so many people realize that there is a problem, and obviously people only react when there is a problem. So
Too late, and it's too late. Yeah,
and that's what we
and
can't
when it
let
affects
happen.
them,
That's
and
right.
it's got to. You're right. It's got to affect them, because when COVID started, I remember waking up to COVID, and I was thinking, we know we need to do something about this, isn't it? And everyone's going, oh, this has been going on for so long. It's always been like this, blah blah blah. And I said, and you've never done anything. You've never done anything. He said, well, there's nothing you can do. I said, well, he said, all you've got to do. I remember having this conversation with so many people, and they said, all you've got to do is just look after you and your own. I said, what you mean, be an I'm all right, Jack? As long as I'm all right, Jack, nothing else matters. And that is what has got us into this mess now, because everybody just thinks about themselves. And if it doesn't affect them, I'm all right, Jack. Don't worry about it.
But
so
this
you're
is
right.
You're absolutely right there, and that troubles me immensely, because I think to myself, you can see that this is a multifaceted warfare, Laura. Right? So what that means is they're coming after every single facet of humanity. And what happens is so many people go, oh, I just want to focus on this or this or this. But actually, the overarching goal is we want all of this to stop so that we can then rebuild the new. And we're not going to be able to do that if we don't have the support of the masses. So therefore, taking action in our local area, but then doing that from one side of the country to another side of the country, all simultaneously, unanimously, together at the same time. What will happen then? Can you imagine?
People waking up and empowering themselves with knowledge and resisting and saying, actually, no. And like, you've got templates and paperwork and stuff that can help people. Bombard them with all these lawful templates and legal. I imagine. I think you're covering both sides of the law that they've created. Yeah. That's fantastic. What sort of success have you had with these smart grid towers?
Okay, variety of different successes, mainly getting them stopped going up. So you have to catch them in time. But you did mention something, that there are people amongst who I'm working with that are looking at ways to try and take them down. But again, I believe that that's going to come back to public pressure. Because if let's just say, for an example, all of the community knew they don't like these masks, they're getting the symptoms, the headache, the tinnitus, brain fog. And then obviously now we're going over to the council, but we're going over to them in mass formation. What can they do? What could they honestly do? Because we can evidence it that these are fraudulently put up 90% of the time, if not potentially all of the time. But I just want to walk with a little bit of a caveat there. But yeah, teams have been successful in stopping them go up, but then they try to come back in another way, in another route. So therefore, keeping your community informed about this and letting them know. So then let's just say, right, we were, I don't know, there was a time in Swindon, I think they got 3 masts stopped within a couple of weeks. And they worked so hard, bless them. They went out talking to the local people about it. You're just about to have a mast up here. Would you like to sign a petition? So then they did that in 3 different locations. Now, one time, I think it was, they were ready to go in for another one, and the council approved it. And I said, don't worry about that. Don't worry. I said, and they said, why? And I said, well, because we're allowing these people to expose themselves, you see.
Yes.
So we're not pushing for, we're allowing people to come to their own discernment and decision about whether these people are working for us or if they're working against us. And it's so easy for that levels of corruption to expose itself. Like, you think about ULEZ, for an example. There's a so-called fraudulent cost of living crisis where nobody can afford to buy things, but yet Sadiq Khan and ULEZ needs to be rolled out, etc. So that is exposing itself. But it's the same with every single topic. So, for an example, smart cities, the councils are having millions pumped into them to create their smart cities. So, but don't worry, they're diminishing services, the NHS. Councils can't afford things coincidentally, yet they're pushing for devolution in the background, yet the general public don't understand what these things are. So we have to get there first. That's the whole thing about what we're doing, because there will come a time, I believe, when the banks will crash, all of this sort of stuff. Now, if we know the people in our local area, the power's gone down, the internet, the whatever, if we know those people in our local area, what can they really honestly do? That's the question.
It is absolutely brilliant. And I've always said you need to go out into your community and start building network there, but it's really hard for people to do that without an instructions manual. Because I don't know about you. And you have, and that is what is amazing, because we live in a generation where we need to be told which way we need to open a box and how we need to walk this direction. Everything has been sort of put in such a way that without even realizing, we are told what to do every single day, even by our alarm clocks. Right, you need to wake up. Everything.
Very good point.
Is structured to how you live and how you move, and open this way. Don't stick a bag on your head because you'll suffocate. We have to even be told that, because people can't think for themselves.
Well, that's really true. Actually, that's a really, really, but that's really, like,
it's the truth of it, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but then again, you think about this. Why, like, some people said to me initially when I first started this up, they were like, "Why are you going out of high-vis jackets on and lanyards and all of this?" I said, because we want our general public to take us seriously. So if we look back at COVID, you're not a doctor, you're not a nurse, etc. People didn't take you seriously. Therefore, you were just a conspiracy theorist. So we have to remove that conspiratorial nonsense away from them, and by doing such thing, we're playing into their kind of how they work, but it is working for us, you see. And exactly
it is absolutely true, because people will make up their mind. I think they've done a study, and literally within minutes of seeing someone, they will make up their minds. So image is really, really important.
Really? Well, that doesn't surprise me, but it works. I mean, from that visual perspective, if you're going to talk to somebody, they're going to take you seriously. They're not going to think that you're burgling their house. And the feedback that we get from very asleep people is, "I can't believe you care about us." Now, that is the most empowering thing ever, when you hear that from somebody that's deeply asleep. They don't know what to do, and they feel powerless, alone, at home on their own. So that is where we need to begin. Like, we all talk about the new and what we want to do, and all of these things, but if we don't get from one side of the fence to the other side of the fence, we don't know what that's going to look like. So that's where I'm kind of focusing on that at the moment.
And so you've obviously really spent a lot of time doing your research on all of this, and it seems to me, obviously from talking to you, because this is the first time we've really spoken, that you've spent a lot of work in the smart grid towers and understanding that. So for people that may not be so aware, or are just sort of coming to your work and may not fully believe you, what would you say the towers are for, and why were they such a rush to build it? What the purpose is, and what the downside is? The downside of these.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in 5G, but I do know enough.
Hmm.
So I just want to put that out there that I am not an expert. I'm more focused on how we can get that message from us to people who are deeply asleep. Um, However, 5G, everything goes back to the 5G towers. So then you look at the LED street lights with the sensors on them,
Hmm.
and the LED streetlights then feed back to your local 5G tower, and then obviously that's then fed back to your local data center. So all of this information is what they're utilizing and what will be utilized for the CDC rollout, for everything that they want to bring into being: smart farming, smart seas,
Yeah,
smart motorways, smart everything, all goes back to 5G. So
absolutely.
that is the problem with 5G, because a lot of the and also as well is radiating people. We've never,
Hmm.
just from a very basic perspective, we've never seen radiation levels to the veracity of what we have are seeing today. And that's why the government was so keen on reducing all the red tape to make sure that the 5G rollout was quickly, rolled out. And from the
Mm.
last time I checked, they wanted to put another 600,000 up. Hmm. That's a lot. And we've already got a lot all over this country. Everywhere you go, 5G is on the motorway. We don't have a choice. I don't know if about you, Laura, but I didn't consent to 5G
No,
going up here everywhere. No, I didn't. I
no.
don't. I don't remember that. And I'm sure most people have never consented to this as well.
I
That's all
didn't even
they're.
know. I didn't even know. I just remember thinking, well, during lockdown, obviously, and I had no idea about what 5G was or towers that they were trying to erect. And to me, if if I wasn't in the know-how, I would have just thought, oh look, it's for some kind of telephone communication, and I just wouldn't have even given it a second thought that I just, from a sleep point of view, I would have just thought they know what they're doing. It's technology. I don't fully understand technology, but obviously this is maybe for telephone or whatever, and that's it. I wouldn't have. That would have gone out my mind.
And
So
I
it is really important to bring the message of what the reasons that the health and the restrictions that these bring with them.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing about it, because a lot of people, like, some people don't understand, and some people, I remember a couple of people have said, oh, I'm really scared about dealing with the 5G topic, and I said, why? And they said, well, we don't understand the technical aspects of it, so therefore people in the movement start to think, well, I don't want to touch that because I don't really understand anything about it. It's so
Mm.
simplistic, because you can go and take a reading and you can identify, if the tower is switched on, you can usually identify pretty quickly that there is a problem because it is exceeding the guidelines, ICNIP guidelines, or
Mm.
it's just very obvious to be able to see that. Therefore, we just have to show other people that problem. But we do have so many problems in this country to speak to people about, and it's just an order winning factor. We just need people, because what I find, like, within the movement as well, we just need people to go, actually, you know what, I want to get involved, I want to do this in my area. We can
Mm.
empower people to help people. I do a regular Tuesday call as well, so talking to people from all different parts of the country that are doing this around the country, helping each other, thinking about, because there's different advancements of the agenda in different locations. So for an example, the
Mm.
Scottish team, they've got a different problem up there. They've they've all received a leaflet from their local council saying, what would you do in a climate emergency and the internet went down, and they've received that from their council. Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So they don't have the 5G problem per se just yet, but what they do have is that they are basically being told about the agenda by the
Yeah.
council. So the council are trying to bypass karmic debt by telling people in advance, oh, look, this could potentially happen. And if you don't do something about it, you're forewarned, right? So that's where we need to then, because obviously people are going to be sitting at home, feeling alone and not knowing what
Yeah.
to do about it, frightened. So the only way we can do
Absolutely.
that is speak to people. It's so easy.
I love it. And in fact, someone actually said to me, I think it falls under the Care Act. Is it 2004? That the council, or
Have a
the
duty of
council, the
care.
government, they have a duty of care, and
Yeah.
your health and well-being comes first. So even just under their own Care Act, I mean, let's face it, unless the people push, they're not going to look. If I know I'm hurting you, but you don't tell me I'm hurting you, if you don't tell me, I'm just going to carry on hurting you. And this is
That's
the
right.
logic that I'm seeing here. So if
Yes.
if the government
Yes.
know that they're hurting us, and we don't say, hey, look, you're seriously hurting me, and well, how am I hurting you? Well, first of all, under the Care Act, you're making me ill, and your towers even tell you on the little sticker may
Yeah.
cause a whole list of symptoms. Secondly, there's loads of things, but we're not telling them. The Terrorist Act, they're using funds to fund terrorism when it's actually against the law. So they're harming, they're causing.
Well,
So if we don't tell them, they're not going to do it. They're not going to stop.
and this is the thing. This is where we got to be like, no war was won without a good strategy, right? So therefore the strategy is we just need to empower ourselves. We can show you what we're doing, and you just need to empower
Mm,
yourselves. It's so simple, because like you said, that's how they're getting away with all of these things, because everything that they work towards is based on consent. Therefore, none of us do
mm,
consent. So then if we go and speak to our communities about it, and again, they don't consent, then what happens then? We don't know,
yeah.
you
And
see.
are you doing petitions as well? Do you find that they might be helping?
Yeah. They are. Yeah, especially with 5G towers, especially, people didn't realize. I remember one day, I think it was Swindon actually, that they were just about to put a 5G monopole mast, a huge one, in this particular in children's play area. So we're seeing them in play areas, outside old people's homes, hospitals, wherever. We're just, they just pop up here, there, and
Mm,
everywhere. And I remember that they went round this particular estate, and they was going, yeah, but my kids play over there. That's really so that got them straight away. Those people
yeah,
were then they realized that, oh God, that's going to impact my life. I don't like that. So then you
yeah.
talk to them about other topics, and it's impacting their life, and you say, well, you know,
And that's when people will start doing something when it impacts them.
correct.
And let me just note. Um, right. So the other thing that you've got that hubs. Where are you setting up hubs all over the country?
Yeah, we can help people straight away. Yeah. So we got people dotted here, there, and everywhere around the country now, because people just come in and say, actually, I want to get involved in that. I want to do that. So yeah, we've got different pockets all over the country. It's not like hubs per se, but I guess it is in a sense,
Yeah.
really. Yeah, it is, because they can evolve outwards thereafter as well. So yeah.
And people obviously can just branch off of it and create
Yeah,
from what you've started. Excellent.
yeah, we
And
create them like lanyards, logos, everything, so that they look the part,
excellent.
so they look, they're all part of it.
I love it. I love it. Um, and they've got that. So the other thing that I was going to say is that are you also? Someone said that you might be getting involved. Are you supporting the farmers? Are you also doing connecting with farmers?
Okay, so what I've done is I've written a script to talk to
Right.
farmers, and I haven't published it
Hey.
anywhere. So I thought, because obviously what they want to do is they want to control the food supply. So I thought, well, it's a good time now, because I was working on a project like this 3 years ago. I was actually working on a project called Align, where I covered off all the emergency segments. And anyway, I parked that for the
Oh.
time being, but I've got a script. So if anybody wants to try it with their local farmers, it's talking about 5G, rewilding problem, talking about all this. So I'm just looking for a bit of feedback at the moment before I publish it. But if anybody does want it, then I can share
Oh.
that with them.
Excellent.
Yeah, because
Perfect.
if we get take back control of the food, it's game over as well, because they want to create that crisis situation so that we're all then
Mm,
succumbing to the World Economic Forum and their friends, which we obviously don't want to succumb to the World Economic Forum and their friends. So
no.
therefore, in order to mediate ourselves through war, if we win over that food supply now, where the farmers might be more amenable to have these kind of conversations, obviously there's so many food groups around the country as well. And we know where they all are, and the farmers are engaged with us. What are they going to do?
I love it.
And it'll be
And
save
you have you
farmers,
tried
save
it?
food. I haven't yet, no, but I'm going to probably.
No.
I've got some people that are ready to go and try it next week. So
Well, that
who
would be
knows?
good feedback to hear what it's like.
Yeah, yeah.
People need prepping, and that's exactly what you're doing. You are prepping, and reaching out the community. Honestly, connecting with community, I do believe. And if you can't, like, some people might not want to do it in their own community, but that doesn't mean they can't join someone else's community and do it there. So if you don't want to do it where you live, just in case you might feel like, oh, you know, everybody knows me and I can't put my face out there, go to a different community and swap.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, we've done that sort of thing before as well, to help each other out in different places as well. Yeah.
mm. Let me have a look. Have I got any questions that maybe, what's your website where people can get a hold of you? I'm going to put that up at the end anyway.
Yeah, so it's National Residents Association. It's a bit hard to find, actually, my website. So it usually falls under RFR Info, which has loads of 5G resources if anybody who needs to check that out. But you will find it in the toolbar when you type in National Residents Association. You just have to
Excellent.
click into it.
Let me see. Is it .com or .co.uk?
I think it's
got?
.co.uk. Yeah, I think
I will
so.
put it up at the end anyway, so people can have a look. But it was sent to me. I should have. But just for everyone, if they want to write it down now, yeah, National Residents Association. Because also they're sort of trying to stop you growing your own fruit and veg anyway. People are getting told in certain, I mean, I've seen it myself. There was a couple, I think, that got told that they weren't allowed to use their garden as a vegetable patch, because then it turns into an allotment, and it's not an allotment. And I thought, great.
That is, I mean, but that's what we're, and then can you imagine if they turn the towers up? That's going to start harming growing, these kind of things as well. We've seen trees die, and then obviously with dystopian things like this, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
How can you the device to check the electrical magnetic frequency released from these smart grid towers, is that a cheap one? Can people sort of buy a reasonable price one? Or
yeah, I mean, there's so many on the market. There's some, I know a popular one from a cause and effect. Let's just Trifield Pro 2 is a really good one for a cause and effect, because it creates such a loud noise. So if you're going to go out into the public and you're going to go and have a look at a mast to see, I really want somebody to go near a school just before school's ending, near a primary school where there's a mast, and go up with their high-vis jackets on, their lanyards, and they hear the Trifield, and that noise will then cause people to walk over to you. We've seen it before, but not, obviously we haven't done it at school. I really want somebody to just go and do it. But people just come over to you. From a cause and effect perspective, I'd say the Trifield Pro 2 is really good for that. But there are ones that do better recordings of readings, more accurate and more detailed out there as well. But they just don't have that noise factor. So it depends what you're looking for, really. But they cost about 100, maybe more, 150, that kind of price range. Yeah.
And do you know, just by chance, if there is a legal limit that the tower should go to, and if it goes over that reading, then it becomes
Well, there's something called ICNIRP guidelines, and it is really but a guideline. And it's a shame I didn't join on my laptop, because otherwise I could have shown. But I'll give you an example. In the ICNIRP guidelines, same organization based in the US is capped at 1,000 as their safe level.
right.
Okay. However, the UK, same organisation, is capped at 8,315. if memory is branded as, the guidelines for being. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's 315, so I might be out by a couple digits there, but yeah, that's what
And
the UK government and everybody would define as, well, I mean, not the government per se, but
acceptable.
yeah,
Yeah.
acceptable. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but what does the government actually say? See, the thing is, it's like the electric cars. I think someone was saying that there is actually on the government website a thing about the electric cars where it says you can't be in them for more than 30 minutes because it's bad for your health. Yeah.
really, I'd love to see that. I would love
I
to
need
see
to
that.
see that.
I
It's, yeah,
need to
it
see that.
advises. And so they're making these electric cars that are actually, the longer you sit in them, the worse it is for you. But on their sites, it tells you you shouldn't, they do this all the time. Honestly, they do it all the time. I've seen it time and time again in little small prints. They tell you to use it for this, that, but in small prints, it tells you different things. So it would be great. Is there a national 5G map showing where 5G masts are sited by any chance? Someone's
Yeah,
asked.
I think there is. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I would be able to get you that. There is definitely one that you can. I just can't remember what it's called. Sorry, not right now.
Okay,
But I can get that.
excellent.
Yeah.
That's fine. We can put this at the end once um, exposure to time in EV not recommended more than half hour. That's right, Maria. Excellent. That's what I did remember. An electric vehicles not recommended for more than half an hour. I mean, and they're trying to. It's crazy.
And
It's
yet, and yet,
absolutely crazy.
and yet, people are sitting there at the petrol station, fueling up their electric cars for like more than half an hour. Right
Yeah.
there, crazy, isn't
I
it?
parked one day. I parked next to an electric charging point, and it was
Right.
just one. So I parked in front of it because we had to go somewhere. And this guy turned up with his whatever it was, brand new Land Rover electric thing. Plugged it in. We were gone for an hour, maybe more. So I got back and it's still charging, but the smell that was coming from this was literally like burning electric,
Oh
like
my
burning
God.
wires.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, surely this smell isn't right. And it the smell itself put me off. And even if I didn't know anything about it, the smell when you're smelling like a burning rubber, burning, and I thought that's not right, surely.
But they're
Yeah, so
catching on fire as well. Like there was a
yeah,
London bus that caught on fire, electric London bus caught on fire the other week. You know,
but they don't make the news, do they?
not really.
Um,
No, no.
what about the massive battery farms springing up all over? Yeah, absolutely. And the ironic thing is, they tell what I've seen again where you've got to charge your car with the electric point, but it's being run by a gas generator. I've actually seen that, like, because they can't run it. They catch fire and the fire brigade can't put them out. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's a total mockery. The whole agenda is a
Mm.
total mockery. It's actually, there's a proper term that the cabal use, and it's called mocking of the victim. And we are the victims, so obviously we need to not make ourselves be the victims anymore. Yeah.
It
I
is.
mean,
It is
you
in
can
our
see,
face.
yeah, yeah, green agenda is so laughable. I mean, you can say to somebody about a 5G tower, oh, and I love using this line. It's one of my favorites because, oh, we're really worried about our council declared a climate emergency. And, we're really worried because obviously we've never seen radiation like this. So we're quite worried about how much damage that's doing to the environment. So that's just a common sense response, making people think about it.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. Um, let's just hope. Yeah, someone said that they think it's all done to wake people up. So maybe it is. Maybe indirectly, what they're trying to do is waking more and more people up without them knowing. We could speculate all day long, but either way, it's affecting people. The first one to, I think it was just after COVID, was the rise in utility bills, and that was having an impact directly on people, so then it gets their back up. So even the ones that weren't quite on the COVID train got affected by the utilities. So then they started to want, and then the fuel, the fuel prices, that's something. So they're doing things that are really putting the pressure.
And then people don't know where to go to, Laura. That's the
Yeah.
thing. So that's where we need to be those beacons and sort of say, look, we're here with you and we know that there's a problem. So if they pull any trigger, we know that there's people around us that are on our side. It's game over.
And it's great that you're doing this. And I think it's, and you're providing all the information, a platform, and all people need to do is just download whatever or print whatever and just put the high vis and lanyard, join you and go and
off they go.
Outreach.
Yeah,
locally.
And we've got training sessions, everything. I can bring different teams on from around the country to train people. Happy to do it. Lived experience is the best experience.
How long have you been doing this?
Since May 2022, around that kind of time. Yeah.
Has it grown? Has it grown quite a lot since you first started then?
Yeah. It's been a bit of an upward battle though, because like some people just don't want to help or whatever, and you're just like, well, but you've got to carry on, because there's gonna come a point, like if they pull off the no farmers no food thing, what's going to happen? We've seen our country go into a crisis because of COVID, right?
Yeah.
We have the knowledge now, so therefore we can learn from that and think, hang on a minute, if they could do that, what could they do next? Let's stop it now. It's very,
do what we
very
can
simple.
To put the pressure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the markets, because the thing is, the farmers are getting paid more now, not to farm their land, to keep it empty. They've actually given them an increase of money.
And that's the concerning part, because under real estate law, if you don't make a complaint, and I knew this 3 years ago, I was talking to people about this, and unfortunately nobody was really listening to me at that given moment. But now people, anyway, so rewilding. So what they've done is they've decreased their costs so much, then they've incentivized them to have these lovely smart things put onto their farms. I'll rephrase that. Obviously, then they've paid them to have that because they need to be safe to be able to have them on their farms. And then in addition to what they've done is they've rewilded the fields, meaning, oh, don't worry, we'll pay for you to not utilize your land under rewilding. So therefore, if nobody makes a complaint, potentially from about 4 up to 15 years, I'm verifying that at the moment, what that means is when they come out of these leases or agreements that they've had in place, they can say, oh, you didn't make a complaint about that, therefore you can't use your land for farming anymore because it's now classified as rewilded, so therefore it's a land grab in a sense.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's just wow. Yeah, that's clever. You've got to give it to them. They're so clever. We're so stupid.
We've got to be cleverer now, and we've got to take
now
it back.
We do. But they've done a really good thing. Like they've done a really good number on us for so many years. Yeah. And now it's time to get our backbones together and start fighting back. That's a very clever move, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolute clever move.
It was done so underhand, like, oh, we know that your skin. You could just imagine it, couldn't you? The British brain. I mean, like the UK government's nudge unit coming out, or devising this strategy. I mean, I'm insinuating. I don't really know who, but they've done a number on people. Yeah,
it is. So
the script I've read.
Yeah.
The script I've wrote incorporates all of that from kind of explaining at a very basic level. So if if anybody does want to try it. But
someone's just it'd be good. Yeah, absolutely, it'd be good. Someone said, how do we know they will grab the land? Well, this is exactly what they want to do, because my understanding is they want to create these smart grid cities, put everyone close to these smart grid cities, and the rural areas, less and less people will be living there, so that we all become dependent, which is another thing about the farmers. We all become dependent in these cities. And if independent farmers are not farming for you and you can't grow your own food, you're a bit stuffed. But places like Tesco's and Waitrose and Marks and Spencer's, whoever, they have their own farm. They grow their own food specifically for, I know Morrison's do, and I remember doing this in a business course that I was doing in 2014. They all have their own farming lands. So they don't necessarily rely on farmers to bring stuff in, because they have their own farming lands. So they can always kind of create and have food. So while the farmers who might be bringing food to local small shops, or maybe local farm shops, all local areas, rural especially, because you don't get so much of that in cities, won't be able to provide, supermarkets will constantly have a flow of food because they have their own farming. So they will have the monopoly.
I didn't realize that they had their own farms as well. Okay, that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting, because I do know that they if the food is not quite up to their standard, they'll just tell them, oh, sorry, we're not buying that this week. And that's the end of the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then if you know, that's screwing farmers over. I mean, farmers are running at a loss, and they have been for many, many years, running, not even making any iota of a profit.
No, because the supermarkets are taking over, and now we've got people, and, you know, we were saying about the importance of appearance, and now we've got to be to a point where people are so brainwashed that they need an apple to be so shiny and a certain size with no marks on it. You know, they need a carrot to be whatever, and if it's not of that appearance and it's a bit deformed, or, you know, but they don't want it. So farmers, in fact, wasn't it Jamie Oliver that I remember watching it when I used to watch TV, that they were moaning about the fact that shops weren't selling fruit and veg that was a bit, I don't know, you know, not of the right shape, not of the right size. So they actually made an effort. Now some shops will sell cheaper, because they you know, there might be not just one carrot but two carrots grown together that form one, and people won't buy it. They won't, because they need to visualize how it should be, and this is just wonky. Thank you, I couldn't find that you know, wonky, or and they just won't. So farmers are struggling, and they're throwing away tons of produce because they can't sell it. Just can't sell it.
And therefore there's willing people out there that if we knew our farmers and had that relationship with them and said, hang on a minute, what can you supply us? You know, how far can you supply the local area? You know, we could sew this up really quite quickly, I reckon, to be honest, especially now they're going to be more susceptible because of all the recent problems that they're experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Important to save the farmers, and it's important to save food, right? So, you know, because that is the perfect way, you know, like let's think about the World Economic Forum and them saying that they're going to rebuild trust in their organization. The way I perceive rebuilding trust is we will show you what we've been saying to be true. So therefore, you know, we can't let that happen.
Yeah, we do. And also it's got to be, I mean, I use my local farm shop, and, you know, I'd like to think that most of the produce, not all of it, but most of it will be local grown. And the problem we've got is because farmers need to try and keep up with supermarkets, you know, if they try and grow things as naturally as possible, they can't. They have to spray, but otherwise the crop might not look, and this, that, and the other. It's just crazy. But if we can bring back the local farming community and support the farmers and say, you know, I don't care if my carrot's a bit wonky, or, you know, a bit of my apples, you know, a bit bruised, it's more natural and healthy for you, rather than it having wax and shine and sprayed with all sorts of things. But people have got lazy. It literally is I like technology. I'm actually not one of these people that's against technology, but I like everything to have a balance, and it has to be used in the right way. And I can see now that they're using technology against us to control everything about us, and that's where it's gone wrong.
I agree. That's the problem here. Yeah.
So I'm not against technology, but technology's made us really, really lazy, to the point that we click a button to have everything delivered, that we don't even go out anymore. And I've always, even before realizing what's going on, I purposely used to go to the supermarket just for that appreciation of going to get my own food and choosing my own food and connecting with people. Because then if you don't go out and get it, you can't grow it, you can't prepare it yourself, but at least go out and get your own food so you appreciate what you're going to cook.
And it's the same with going to the supermarket and going to a till where somebody's actually serving you, not a cashless till that they keep on, they're just, it's really obvious what's happening.
I refuse to use them.
Because they're recording you. I mean, I don't consent to that either, funnily enough, like everything else.
Yeah. And I refused to use them. And it was 2 days ago, I went in. I only had a very small basket. I think about 6 things in a basket. Got to the till, and there's a lady with a whole trolley full, older lady. And she said, "Do you want to go in front of me?" I said, "Only if it's okay." It was really nice for her to let me go. She said, "No, it's fine. You've only got a few bits." I said, "Look, I know it's crazy." I said, "But I refuse to use those tills." She went, "I'm with you." Started talking to the other lady who was in front of her. So now I'm talking to these 2 older women who are completely on the same page. The fact is, the interaction you lose, you don't get to talk to people. I said, and anyway, where's my staff commission? If I'm doing the job myself, I'm working here, I want discount, and I will audit my own shops, my own bags. So, it's crazy. So, that was a nice experience because you get to talk to people, and that's going.
Because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to dehumanize us every step of the way, for people to stop talking to each other. So just like with that example then, if you imagine speaking to people in your local area doing a, similar kind of thing, honestly, it's exactly the same effect. It really is.
I love it. And you've done the work for nearly everything. So you've done the work, you put it all in, so people just have to
run with it.
Yeah, excellent. Do I have any questions before we finish, so you can all get back to your Sunday roasts? I'm not doing one today, but I do love a traditional British Sunday roast. Love it. It does mean you've got to deal with the rest of the people. Absolutely, some good, some bad. During COVID, I didn't want to go out at all, but it was a very tough time for all of us. But it's empowering, and if you can go out with as much of a positive attitude and try and talk to people and communicate, I think it's really, really good. I'm going to put a link to Cassie's website. Let me just see if I can read it out here, so that people can, if you've got a pen and paper, write it down. But I will put a link up anyway. But if you want to write it down now, it is, and you've got loads of templates as well. I say it is national. Oh, that's your email. No, I can't find it. I thought I did have it.
You need to put it in
so
the
you'll
chat
have to
box.
send it. Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
Please. I thought I had it, but I don't. No, I've got your email. That's what I have. So if you could send it to me, that would be great. I don't have it here. Oh, she's gone.
Oh no, I'm here. Back. I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Oh, you've gone.
I was going to do it.
Yeah.
But then I realised actually that cuts it off. So
Yeah.
I'm here. Just send it in a minute.
So, there you are. Thank you, Sophie. It's www.nationalresidentsassociation.co.uk. So I'll put that in the heading as well. So if anyone has got residents with a T, if anyone's got any questions, please drop them in now. But thank you. It's been really lovely talking to you. And you say about your Tuesday talks.
Yeah.
So is that every Tuesday? Where do you do that?
I do it. I host it on Zoom. So yeah, it's for people that I like to vet people for obvious reasons. And yeah, so what we do is we just have calls just to discuss what people have been doing, if they've got any questions, queries, these kind of things. And sometimes I have like a professional come in, do like a talk about different topics. Like the other week, I had somebody come and do LED street lights because I like people to know about the dangers any of this technological advancement can cause. So for an example, there's like LED streetlights, they're incapacitator LED streetlights, which can cause temporary blindness and these kind of things. So we,
in the cars as well when you're driving. Have you seen that?
Yellow tinted glasses. Oh. You have to get yellow tinted glasses. I don't care what I look like. Because obviously it's burning the retinas of your eyes. LED streetlights are burning the retinas. Yeah. So, but then you've got the
I'm struggling.
Yeah.
When I'm driving and all the cars, they're so literally blinding you.
Well, or even the RAC, they've even got a petition out about against LED lights. Seriously, I kid you not. So that says a lot, doesn't it? Really.
It does. It does. Right. So yellow glasses.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them. I definitely need them because it really does. Yeah. Don't let councils or housing have any say in these groups. No, absolutely not. Do you work with local councils as well? Are you like working with people working with local councils?
Well, I mean, some groups are and some groups are not. It's very variable from different parts of the country. I mean, some people have got relationships with their councillors, some people don't. It's a very variable situation, that one. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful. I've got no questions, which is good. Well, I can't see any from here. I'm not getting all the things in, but yeah, thank you, Cassie. I really do appreciate this. Thank you for the last minute.
No, thank you.
Jumping on. Yeah, thing is, whatever says smart really isn't so smart after all, is it?
No.
Because it's all to do with technology. Technology can go wrong, and we have seen it go wrong as well. And I mean, a lot of places that are now trying to go cashless, when the computers break down, they want your cash then.
Yeah.
So technology, I don't believe personally they will win with this, because technology requires, it to be always monitored because it can go wrong. We all know this. So, and if we keep putting the pressure on, I do believe that we will make a difference. And people like you, who have given so much time and dedication to organising everything and putting everything together and creating all the paperwork, the knowledge, and to make it easy for everyone, I think it's brilliant. So please, guys, share this live, take advantage of Cassie's work and her time and her effort to make a difference. Go to the website, which I'll put in the link in the bio anyway. And, and what else does your website have on there?
I'm going to have to get it updated. I'm getting it updated, but I've got my World Economic Forum Explainer video, which is lovely for people who might just be waking up. So general public who might want to learn about who the World Economic Forum are. We've got World Economic Forum Explainer on there.
Excellent. So is there a list of hubs on the website?
No, I'm having that done in the background, but there will be very, very soon. Yeah. But if anybody does want to start something new, get in touch. Very delighted to help. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. And it's easy to get in touch with you on the website, is it? Is that the only way to get in touch with you?
On email or Telegram. Yeah. So I'll give you all of the 3 things in a minute. Yeah.
Okay. Super. Wonderful. I'll upload them all. And yeah, thank you guys. Do share it and, join the website and let's get ourselves out there. You get a high vis. I'm looking forward to that. Very professional. And people will, you know, they'll look at you, and you know, you can look. Listen, imagine putting a doctor's coat on. You know, I said you get away with murder. Good to know people are taking action on topics. Yes, we've got to, and thanks to Cassie, it's absolutely amazing. Thank you. I can't believe I've not come across you before. I think it's great that people are connecting us, and this is what, you know, a good energy is doing, bringing people together so that we can share the information and make a difference, like Cassie is. Thank you, and bear with me. Thank you, everyone, and I will speak to you very, very soon. Mwah. Bye for now.